if we were like mice today, and we had the opportunity to become like humans, we wouldn't object to that. In fact, we are humans, and we don't object to that.
We used to be shrews.
And this is going to basically make us smarter. Eventually, we'll be much smarter than we are today. And that's a positive thing. We'll be able to do things that are today that we find bothersome in a way that's much more palatable.
The idea of us getting smarter sounds great. Great. It'd be great to be smarter. But
Right, but people
the
object to that
concern-
because it's like competition.
in what way?
Well, I mean, Google has, I don't know, 60, 70,000 programmers, and how many programmers exist in the world? How much longer is that going to be a viable career? Because large
AI
language
can
models
program.
already can code,
Yeah.
not quite as good as a real expert coder, but how long is that going to be?
Right.
It's not going to be 100 years. It's going to be a few years. So people see it as competition. I have a slightly different view of that. I see these things as actually adding to our own intelligence, and we're merging with these kinds of computers and making ourselves smarter by merging with it. And eventually it'll go inside our brain and be able to make us smarter instantly, just like we had more connections inside our own brain.
Well, I think people have reservations always when it comes to great change. And this is probably the greatest change. The greatest change we've ever experienced in our lifetimes for sure has been the internet. And this will make that look like nothing. It'll change everything. And it seems inevitable. I understand that people are upset about it, but it just seems like what human beings were sort of designed to do.
Right. We're the only animal that actually creates technology.
Yeah.
And it's a combination of our brain and something else, which is our thumb. So I can imagine something, if I take that
You can
leaf
manipulate it.
from
Yeah.
a tree, I could create a tool with it. Other animals have actually a bigger brain, like the whale,
Dolphins.
dolphins, elephants. They have a larger brain than we do, but they don't have something equivalent to the thumb.
Right.
Monkey has a thing that looks like the thumb, but it's actually an inch down, and it doesn't actually work very well. So they can actually create a tool, but they don't create a tool that's powerful enough to create the next tool. So we're actually able to use our tools and create something that's that much more significant. So we can create tools, and that's really part of who we are. It makes us that much more intelligent, and that's a good thing. Here's U.S. personal income per capita. So this is the average amount that we make per person in constant dollars. And
There
it's
it is
just,
right here. It's on the screen.
it
Yeah, we
just
make a lot more money, but things cost a lot more money too, right?
no, this is
They don't?
constant dollars.
Constant dollars in relation to the inflation.
Yeah, so this does not show you inflation. These are constant dollars. And so we're actually making that much more each year on average. So if you
Right, but it doesn't take into account inflation, correct? So it's not taking into account the rise of cost of things. Right?
no, it is taking
It is.
It is taking that.
Oh, it is. Okay.
So we're making that much more in constant dollars. If you look over the past 100 years, we've made about 10 times as much.
I wonder if there's a similar chart about consumerism, like just about material possessions. I wonder if how much more we're purchasing and creating. I've always felt like that's one of the things that materialism is one of those instincts that human beings sort of look down upon. And this aimless pursuit of buying things. But I feel like that motivates technology because the constant need for the newest, greatest thing is one of the things that fuels the creation and innovation of new things.
But if you were to go back 100 years, you'd be very unhappy.
Oh, yeah.
Because you wouldn't have, you wouldn't have a computer, for example.
You wouldn't have anything. You'd have most things you've grown accustomed to.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
unless that's why you want to
also,
live.
we didn't live very long.
Right. Medical advancements.
Average life was 48 years in 1900. It's 35 years in 1800.
Right.
Go back 1,000 years, it was 20 years.
That takes into account child mortality too, though, right? But it's also injuries, death. Some people did live long. Like there was people that lived back then. If nothing happened to you, you did live to be 80 like a normal person. But
that was actually very rare.
because most things happen to people. Most people, by the time you get to 80, you've had at least one hospital visit. Something's gone wrong. Broken arm, broken this, broken that.
It was very rare to make it to 80.
Right.
200 years ago.
Right, but the human body was physically capable of doing it. Right.
Well, our human body can go on forever if you fix things properly. There's nothing in our body that means that you have to die at 100 or even 120. We can go on really indefinitely.
Well, that's the groundbreaking work today, right? They're treating disease, or excuse me, age, as if it is a disease, not just an inevitable consequence of being alive.
And our FDA doesn't accept that, but they're actually beginning to accept it now.
Well, as they get older.
Yeah, exactly.
They're forced into it. The concept of artificial general intelligence scares a lot of people also because of Hollywood, right? Because of the Terminator films and things along those lines. Like, how far away are we, do you think, from actual artificial humans